Hi guys, it's been a while since I posted a video and I wanted to check in with you and talk to you about what I've been thinking about doing with my channel going forward. The way that I was doing videos really wasn't working for me. It was just too planned, I don't know, too formal, I guess. And it just became too much for me to keep up with my lifestyle. So, and I think I mentioned before in one of my most recent videos that I've been thinking about the idea of doing vlogs. And I've really started watching vlogs and loving them. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start making weekly vlogs. Now, I'm doing this right at a time when most of the people on BookTube are doing Vlogmas, which if you haven't heard of what Vlogmas is, basically it is the people are filming videos every day and uploading every day on the month of December. I don't know if it goes just up until Christmas or if it's the entire month, but people are posting videos every day, and I will say that I am not doing that this year because that would be like diving head first into the deep end, and I'm not ready for that. So I'm just going to try to start with some weekly vlogs. I'm going to start on Sunday and film a little bit throughout the week, talking about what I'm reading right now, what I'm finishing, and what I'm planning on reading, and any kind of like book adjacent things that happen. And I just thought I would share those with you on a weekly basis. If I do this and it works well for a while, then maybe next year in 2020, 2020, maybe I'll do Vlogmas then, but I'm not up to that at this point in time. But anyway, this is just the start of that, and we'll see how it goes. If you have any advice or comments that you have regarding, you know, what do you think of this vlog? How do you feel about vlogs? Things that maybe you think I should do, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to start a conversation with you and get some feedback to see what I can do better. So that's just the start. This is Sunday right now, and I'm later on tonight I'm going to check in with you and let you know all the things that I'm reading, working on right now, and what I plan to do for this week. So that's it for now. I'll check back with you in a little bit. Hey guys, so it's about 11 o'clock and I'm about ready to go to bed, but I did want to tell you that I finished Red at the Bone, and this book was really good. Jacqueline Woodson has a way of saying things that they seem like simple words, but you know that there's more. What she's saying is not what she's saying. It means something else. Very good use of metaphor, and it was just amazing. This was a story of Melody, who was a young girl, and it centers around her coming of age ceremony that they're having when she's like 16, and her family and friends are all there, and we find out that she's 16 and she's wearing this dress that was originally intended for her own mother 16 years before, but her own mother never had her ceremony because she became pregnant with Melody. And it was a disappointment for her grandparents, who had big plans for their daughter, and it affected the relationship between them and her mother, and then also between her and her mother, and her father and her mother, and it was just so complicated and so real. And there are things that I wish she had done something differently, but on the other hand, it was probably more realistic. And the whole time I'm reading it, it's fictional, but I wonder how much of it is based on somebody's real experience. I don't know if it would be the author's or somebody the author knows, but it just had the feel of reality to it. Anyway, it's a really good book, but I did finish it, so I'm going to go to bed now, and I will talk to you more tomorrow. So it snowed all night, and we got, I think it was about 4 inches, but it started snowing again, and we're supposed to get about 3 more inches. This seems like good reading weather. Hi guys, it's Tuesday night and I apologize, I haven't checked in very much. I haven't done a whole lot of reading. Yesterday I showed you some pictures. It snowed quite a bit, and so I stayed home and worked from home, and so you would think I would get some reading done, but I didn't. I didn't really read all day long yesterday, and then today I had to work, came home, and I've been busy doing other things, and it's already after 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I haven't read any tonight. I will say that in the car, we started this today, Sharon McCrum's Nora Bonesteel's Christmas Past. This is actually a novella, but I picked it up from the library. My husband and I have been reading the Ballad series in the car. We commute together, so we take turns. Either I read it to him or sometimes we'll get the audiobook version, but we've been working our way through this Ballad series, which takes place in Eastern Tennessee. And my husband picked it out because he was interested in some Appalachian stories. That's where his family's from. So they're pretty good. And I think we're in the middle of the fourth one right now, but we put it on pause because we wanted to get this Christmas one, and I just happened to see it at the library, so I picked it up. But it's a novella. This is actually like 272 pages, but it's the large print edition. I got that. And look at the size of this print. I mean, maybe you can't tell on here, I don't know, but I feel like I'm reading about a second or third grade book because the print is so big. But that's good news though, because we picked it up this morning and I'm already halfway through. We're like at 55%, I calculated. So we'll be able to get this done before Christmas, definitely. This is a story that takes place, like I said, it's in Appalachia in Eastern Tennessee, and this whole series is based on these people. You've got Sheriff Arrowwood, who's Spencer Arrowwood is the sheriff of the town, and then he's got this deputy, Joe LeDunn, and then Nora Bonesteel is this older woman. I'm not sure how old she is, but she's like the elderly woman she's a wise woman, but she's also got a knack for predicting the future, and she's a little bit mysterious. Nobody really knows what her story is, but there's something about her that people go to her, and she always seems to know what's going on. She knows when somebody's going to die before they die. She knows that something is coming before it happens. So anyway, so this is based on her. In this story, there are two things going on. One with the detective or sheriff, Spencer Arrowwood. He has to go serve a warrant for an arrest for this guy who was in an accident in Knoxville and ran into the car of the wife of a senator, and so he has to go arrest the guy. And he doesn't want to do it because it's Christmas Eve, and he doesn't really want to arrest the guy for something so minor and take him into jail on Christmas Eve for something like that, but he's got to do it. And then meanwhile, Nora Bonesteel, she has a neighbor who has moved into the house next to hers, and she remembers when she was a kid, the people who used to live there. But these are new people that have the house, and they're staying there. They live in Florida for usually during the winter, and then they come to Tennessee, to Hamlin, and live in that house in the summertime. And this year they decided to stay through Christmas because they wanted to see what it was like. And anyway, now they're afraid that maybe the house is haunted. And so Nora Bonesteel is going over to the house, and we're going to find out if the house is haunted, because strange things are happening with the Christmas tree, and the woman doesn't know what's going on. So we'll find out about that. But it's kind of a cute little story, not terribly deep yet, but yeah, so that's basically all the reading I got done today. I hope I get more done tomorrow. I really do. It's with the week before Christmas, we have so much going on. I have a thing to do after work tomorrow, and then we have stuff going on Thursday, and then hopefully by Friday I'll be able to get at least some reading done. I'm wanting to work on I thought I had it here with me and I don't, the Golden Hour by Beatrice Williams that I've been working on. That's the next priority. I also found out yesterday, I was notified that the audiobook I had requested, The Dearly Beloved, I don't remember the author's name, but I had requested the audiobook, and it's now available for me too. So I have yet another book that I could be starting on. So I have more books than I could deal with right now. Anyway, that's it for me today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have more reading in it. So stay tuned. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning, and I am getting ready to go into work, but I thought I'd check in with you for a minute. Last night I mentioned the fact that my husband and I were riding together and reading in the car, and I didn't really go into detail because I was so tired, I realized later. But basically, we work across the street from each other, but both of our offices are about an hour from where we live. So we ride together every day, and that's what gives us a lot of time. We have about an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening every day. So we fill a lot of that time with some reading, and a lot of times we listen to audiobooks, but sometimes I'll read a book out loud while we're writing. And so from time to time, you'll hear me talk about that. But this morning I drove by myself. We drove separately since I have something after work today with some people I work with. So I drove separately, and that gives me the chance to listen to what I want to. So on the way in this morning, I started the audiobook that I got from the library, The Dearly Beloved by Kara Wall. And my commute is so long that I'm already 10% into the book. But basically, I don't know a whole lot about it. I heard it first recommended by Anne Bogle on the podcast, What Should I Read Next? And generally her recommendations usually hit home for me. So I decided to check that one out. So far, I've been listening about an hour of the book, and they're just introducing the 4 characters. I think it's 2 couples, 2 men and 2 women, and right now it's in the 1950s, and they're young. They're like in high school, I think. They're just about to graduate from high school, and we're just being introduced to each one of the individual characters, getting to know their family background, which I'm sure will play into what'll come later, but don't know much about the story yet, but so far it's pretty good. So anyway, that was it for my check-in. I need to get into work, and I'll probably check in with you again later. Hey everybody, it's Thursday night, and last night by the time I got home it was kind of late and I was tired, so I didn't catch you up on the reading that I got done yesterday. I had told you that I read or listened to the audiobook in the morning on the way to work, but coming home I also listened to it, and I got a little bit further along. I'm talking about The Dearly Beloved. We've been introduced to the 4 characters, and now they're starting to meet each other. I think the two couples are going to get together, and eventually I think that the paths are going to cross of the 2 couples. That's still quite a ways in the future at this point. They are like college age students, and they're starting, I can't remember now, this was yesterday. One of the couples has started going out, and they've gotten pretty serious. Actually, I think both the couples have started going out. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. And again, I don't know much about the plot. There is a religious element about this, and so that was one. On the one hand, I'm interested, but on the other hand, I'm also really hesitant to read things like that, because this is like a loaded gun playing with this, because you never know how somebody is going to write it, and depending on how the author writes it, that could really turn me off, or I could really enjoy it too. Sometimes I really enjoy it, but a lot of times they get kind of preachy and try to make it like a conversion thing, trying to convert you by reading their story, and I'm not interested in that at all. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I'm trying to keep an open mind about it, and so far it's fine. But anyway, that's something that is in the back of my mind the whole time I'm listening to this. So we'll see what happens. But it's not bad so far. And also, I finished a book. I finished Sharon Crumb's Nora Bonesteel's Christmas Past. This is actually a novella, so it's not too surprising that I finished it that fast. It only took 2 days of reading total. I think I mentioned the other day that this is part of the Ballad series by Sharon McCrum, which is, I guess it's kind of like a cozy mystery that takes place in eastern Tennessee in a fictional town called Hamlin. And it's like an Appalachian fiction. And the thing about it is, it's like a series, and so we've got the same group of characters that we're familiar with from all of the books, and at this point we've read enough of the books that we're familiar with them. This was written a lot later, though. This was written, I think, 2015, something like that, and the other ones were written like in the 1998-ish time period. So the stories, I think, take place about the same time, but this was written considerably later. It's funny because when we finished the story, my very first impression is I like it better than some of the other ones in the series, and I immediately said, well, I'll give it 4 stars. But then the more I started thinking about it, there were a couple of things that kind of bugged me about it. First of all, it's a novella. It's short, but it's got this is like most of the stories, the regular novels, they'll have like 2 storylines going on. And this one, the 2 storylines were better defined, but they didn't have anything to do with each other. And even at the end, they didn't come together as, to show why they were both included. It's almost like she took 2 separate short stories and then she just kind of melded them together and like took turns with the sections within the chapters, going back and forth between the 2 stories, but they're 2 totally separate stories that don't have anything to do with each other except for the fact that they take place on Christmas Eve. But both stories are good, but neither one enhances the other, so I don't really understand why they were in there. So that is kind of bothering me. And then also, we have the 2 stories. One story is the sheriff and the deputy, who, they're pretty prominent in every book. Their storyline is they are sent to go serve an arrest warrant on this guy who lives out in the hills, because apparently he is wanted for it's not a hit and run, because it's not like they were hurt, but it was like a fender bender, but it was the wife of a senator, and because of that they have to drop everything and go do this on Christmas Eve to arrest this guy. So anyway, they're heading up into the hills, and snow is on its way, and and I know from personal experience, when you're driving up in these hills, this is not just a quick 15-minute trip. This is a big trip, and they have to go and they do this, and it's interesting and it's fun, and it had, to me, there are parts of it that made me think of an episode of the Andy Griffith Show, to be honest. Just for several different reasons, because of the character of the sheriff and some of the things that happened. That's what that reminded me of. So there's that storyline. But then the other storyline is Nora Bonesteels, which that's the title character. She is this elderly woman who has lived her entire life on her family's land, which I guess it's been in her family since, I think, 1791 is what she said. And basically it's between her and her neighbors, the people who are now living in the house, which is next door, which is not real close because everything's kind of spread out in the hills, but it's the next house down. And Nora remembers when she was a little girl, the family that lived there were the Honeycutts, and it was the father was a judge, and then the wife, and then they had their kids. And one of the kids was named Tom, who's like 7 years older than her. And she remembers when they were young and all these different things that happened. And of course, that family's all gone now. And so the house has been empty, but now it's been bought by these people who live in Florida during the winter, and then they come up to Tennessee in the summertime. This year they decided to stay in in Tennessee through Christmas because they wanted to see what, experience what it would be like there because of the snow and that kind of stuff. So, basically, the storyline, which is not giving too much away, is that they think that the house is haunted, basically. They think that weird things are happening and the house is haunted, so they go to Nora and ask for her help to try to figure out what is going on. And so that's making her remember her childhood in that house and all the things that happened there. And we go through that and we solve that storyline. And that storyline in particular, I had a problem with the fact that I really got the feeling that the old adage that you should show and not tell is something that she didn't do, because it felt like she was telling us what was going on instead of showing us. And that just kind of bugged me. And it was fine. It was okay. But I just feel like it could have been, the writing could have been better. So I originally said it was a 4, but I think I'm really going to move it down to a 3 because it's not quite, maybe a 3.5, but I just don't do halves because Goodreads doesn't have halves. But I guess in honesty, it would probably be like a 3.5. So, so that's it. I got that book finished, which I'm really thrilled with, because I feel like with the holidays, I don't know how many books I'll be able to finish. I have my kids are coming in from out of town and they're going to be staying here, and we're going to be going to my parents' house and doing all kinds of things like that. So that's going to cut into my time a lot. Although, on the other hand, I'm also off of work, like I said, for 2 weeks. So maybe I can get a little bit of reading done in times that I normally wouldn't be able to read. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted on that. Right now, I'm really tired. I'm going to go to bed. I am definitely going to get some reading done tomorrow, and I will let you know how that goes. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's Saturday. So last night, I was lying in bed, and I'm thinking to myself, I forgot to vlog all day. I didn't get anything vlogged at all on Friday, so I apologize. There really wasn't a whole lot of reading on Friday anyway. I work from home, so you can see my beautiful Christmas tree. I worked from home from 8 until noon, and then as soon as I was finished working, I started in on cleaning the house to get everything ready to have my house descended upon this weekend, because I have my oldest son right now is driving 12 hours from the East Coast to get here tonight. And then my other son, he lives an hour away and he'll be here tonight also. So by the end of the night, I'm going to have all 3 of my sons and my son's girlfriend here at our house. So anyway, I've been really busy with that. Not a lot of reading going on. I did read about 50 pages in The Golden Hour. That is, let's see, I think I'm about on page 400, and that means I have about 65 pages left to go, and Goodreads tells me that's about 88%. And I think I've said that Beatrice Williams, she writes these historical fiction books that have like 2 different timelines. And at the very beginning of the book, you have these 2 different timelines that you visit, and they seem so completely different. They don't seem to have anything to do with each other. And then as the story goes along, you begin to realize how one story has to do with the other. And I've gotten to that point in this book. The 2 stories have come together, and it makes sense. I'm not going to say because I don't want to give any spoilers, but that part of it, I understand how they come together. I don't understand why they come together, because I have a feeling that, what happened is there's a murder at this point in the book. I'm on page 400 and the murder just happened. And I think it has something to do with both storylines, but I haven't been able to figure it out yet. And it's kind of got a little bit of like espionage, something like that. And I don't know if it's because I'm so preoccupied with everything else going on right now, what with Christmas and everything, or what it is, but I'm really having a hard time, following it, maybe figuring out, you know how sometimes an author they'll drop clues or drop hints about what's going on without really coming out and saying it, which is good, which that's the way it should be. But the problem is I'm so not mentally there for it right now that I'm having trouble figuring out what's going on. So, but like I said, I've got about 65 pages to go, which isn't very long. I should be able to finish it. It just, excuse me. It just depends on how much time I'm going to have to actually read once everybody gets here and we start doing Christmas things. Tomorrow, we're having Christmas at my parents' house. So that will take up most of the day. Hopefully, my plan is I'm going to finish this vlog today. It's Saturday, so I'm going to finish it and then try to get it posted tomorrow morning before we go over to my parents' house. And so I'm not sure about the amount of reading I'll be able to do. I tend to read a lot in the morning in the bed before I get up. So maybe I'll get some in that way. And if I do, I will start a new vlog for next week, and I will include that on there to see where we're going, because I'm not going to get the golden hour finished today. That's just not going to happen. So, so I got to get going. I need to run by the library. I found out that I have several books that I need to return. So I'll show you what I'm taking back. Yeah, these guys have to go back today, and it is about 2:30 right now, and the library closes at 4, so I'm going to go do that before I get distracted by anything else. So I will check in with you later today. Okay guys, it is about 11 o'clock on Saturday night. My boys are all here, so they got here and we had a chance to get caught up and everything, but there was no reading this afternoon or evening, and I don't think I'm going to do it now. I might read about a page, but then I'll probably fall asleep. So we'll just have to stay tuned for the next vlog. I'm going to finish this vlog here so that I can get it edited and hopefully posted either tomorrow or the next day, depending on when I get the time. But that'll be it for this vlog. I'll talk to you next time. See you. Bye.